So today we are starting the decimals. Okay, what is decimal? The word decimals means related to 10. What is the meaning? Related to deci means 10. So it is all about related to 10. Or you can say that the power of 10. Okay, or you can say that fraction with 10 related to 10 basically, and you can say that fraction with 10 or power of 10. Power of 10. Power of 10 means if any number, for example, power of 10 as the denominator are called decimal fractions. Suppose 1 over 10. Right? 1 over 10. 10 means single zero is here, right? Suppose 7 over 10. This is 7 over 10, 1 over 100, 99 over 100. Okay, and then 1 over thousands. So these are called the decimal fractions. What you call it? Decimal fraction, because they will easily convert it into the decimals. So the word decimals means related to 10, which is everything is related to 10. Deci means 10. Okay, and then fraction with 10 or the powers of 10. Powers of 10 means, see, this is the 10 means 10 raised to the power 1. Power is 1. 100 means 10 square. So we call it a power of 10. 1000 means 10 cube. So power of 10, because 2 10 will make it 100. Right? 3 tens will make it 1000. So we call it a power of 10. These
Exponents, right?
Yeah, these are the notation of the 10th. 10 you can write it in a single. So power is 1 because 0 is 1. 10 square means there is 2 zeros. So 10 square we call it a 10 cube means the power of 3 power of 3, which means there is 30. So this we will discuss in the higher grade, the square, cubes and whatever. Okay, but just I wanted to explain what is the meaning of power of 10. That's it. Okay, so these are the some decimal fractions. For example, okay, fraction with 10 as the denominator, the fraction as 10 as a denominator, what you call? 10th fraction. What you call? 10th. T-E-N-T-H. TH stands for normal 10. The normal TEN 10 means it's a normal 10. But if you put TH with the 10, that means 10th. When you write it in the denominator 10, then you call it a 10th. This 10, you write it TEN. But 1 over 10, you will write it 1/10th. TH. 10th. Okay, understood the difference? Yeah? So 100 is, if you write 100, so normal spelling you will write it. Normal 100 spelling HUNDRED. But when the 100 is in denominator, so how you will write it? 100th. See, 100th. TH. Always put TH with the 100. So 100th. How you will read it? 100. TH. Now next. 1000s. How you will read it? 1000ths. 1000s. THS. THS means when 1000 written in the denominator, then the reading pattern is changed. So you will call it a 1000. So fraction with, understood the concept? Fraction with 10 as the denominator are called tenths. Fraction with 100 as a denominator, you call it hundreds. When fraction, then fraction with thousands as the denominator are called thousands. Understood? And so on. If 10,000, millions, lakhs, whatever. So you can accordingly, you can read it like this. Okay? And so on. So tenths, hundreds and thousand. THS stands for if your number is in denominator. Understood?
Yeah.
Now, the number expressed in a decimal form are called decimal numbers, right? When the same thing we are converting into the decimals, okay? How? 1/10, how you can write it the decimals? Do you know? 1/10?
0.01.
0.0, 0.1. 0.1, right?
I thought you have 100, you add a more zero.
Yes,
right?
of course. So suppose
No,
7/10. So how you will write it? 0.7. I will tell you why. 100. So you will write it in decimal like this. This you will write it 0.09 because we have two zeros. So you will starting. I will tell you why we are writing this. Okay. But first of all, I am explaining what you call it. This is a call. This you will call it a decimal fraction. Decimal fractions. 1/10 or whatever. Okay. When you write it in this form, then you will call it a decimal numbers. What you call it? A decimal numbers. Decimal numbers or decimals or decimal. When you write it in this form. Okay. So now you should know each and every part of the decimals. Okay. So it will be easy for understanding. So fraction can be changed into decimal. That's why before decimal we must learn the fractions. Otherwise, how you will convert fraction into decimals, right? When 10 is removed and dot is representing the decimal point is placed after one place. So suppose we have 1 0 here, right? So whatever is numerator, first of all you will write it in the numerator. Numerator is 2. So you will write it as it is, whatever numerator, and then you will check. Here is 1 0. So you will start from the extreme right. After one place you will put the decimal and this 0. Suppose here is 2 zeros. First you will write whatever is numerator. Numerator is 5. So you will write the normal numerator and then check how many zeros we have. 2 0. So you will start from the extreme right. Okay. After 2 place from the right you will put the 0. So there is no other number. So you have to give 1 0, then decimal and then 0. Okay. Now the third is 7. 7 is the numerator. Write it whatever number is given in the numerator. Then check how many zeros are here. Here is 3 0. So starts from the right and count the places. Only one digit is here. So you have to give 2 more digits to make it 3. So 1, 2, 3. After 3 you will put the point and 0. Understood? How you will convert into decimal? Same. The 3 is 3. So write down 3 first because numerator is 3. Check how many zeros in the denominator. Only 1 0. So starts from the extreme right. After one place you will give the dot and 0. Right? Same. 6/100. So 6 is 6. But denominator is 100 means we need to count 2 digits from the right. So there is only 1. So you have to give 1 0 and then dot. 9 is 9. Check how many zeros in the denominator. There is 3 zeros. Start from extreme right. Give 2 more zeros to fill the space. 3 digits and then put the decimal. So this is the normal conversion of the decimals. Now see the question, the different types of question. See, suppose we have the many numbers in the numerator, right? And denominator is 10, 100, 1000, or you can say that the power of 10, right? So if
Yeah.
whatever numerator is you have, you will write it as it is, whatever numerator you have. Now check the denominator. Denominator is how many 0? 1 0. So you will start from extreme right. After one digit you will put the decimal, because here is only 1 0. Understood? Next, numerator is 5 2 7 8. Write it whatever numerator is given in the question, and then check how many zeros in the denominator. How many zeros in the denominator? 2. Starts from the extreme right. After 2 digit, 8 and 7. After 2 digit, you will put the decimal. Understood the concept?
Yeah.
Then 5 2 7 8. How many zeros in this third question? How many
3.
zeros? 3. So where we should put the point?
After 5 and before 2.
Yes, after 5. Because when we start counting from the right, 3 digit is 8 7 2. They are 3 digit. After 3 digit, you will put the decimal. Got it? Now, next.
Yeah.
5 2 7 8. Again, we have the 5 2 7 8. Check how many zeros in the denominator. There are 4 zeros. But 1 starts from extreme right. 1 2 3 4. Give the decimal. Add 0. Always before decimal you have to put 0. Okay? Now, next. 5 2 7 8. 5 2 7 8. Check how many zeros in the denominator. There are
6.
5 zeros. So 1 2 3 4. We have only 4 digits. So what will you do? You will add 0 to make it 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Now it's done. Put the decimal. Add one more 0 before decimal. That's done. Understood? Pictorial representation of decimals. As we learn it, the pictorial representation of fractions, right? In the fraction topic. Now, you will learn to represent decimal through figure explained clearly in this, right? So, consider a rectangle which is divided into 10 equal parts. Okay? Let's draw the rectangle. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, right? So,
Yeah.
a rectangle which is divided into 10 equal parts, you will use this rectangle to different various decimals, right? Suppose I am shaded this part. Okay? So the shaded part is then rectangle represent 1/10, right? What is represent? What is represent here? How you will read it? 1/10, right? You will read it 1/10. Means 1/10 when you convert into the decimal, it is this, right? Of the rectangle, right? Understood? When you are doing this question in the fraction, so how you will write it? 1/10. The same thing when you converting into the decimal, you will write it 0.1, because it's a 1 part out of 10 total, right? The same thing if I will be covering 2 rectangles, shaded the 2 rectangles, then what you will write it? 2/10, right?
Yeah.
So the shaded part represent 2/10.
0.2.
Yeah, that's
Right?
correct. Yes. So 2/10. Now you have to put S because it's more than 1. And how you will convert into the decimal? How you will convert into the decimal? 0.2. Isn't it?
2.
Because
Yeah.
1 0 is in the denominator. When you start from the right, after one digit you have to put the point. And out of 10, only 2 parts are shaded, right? In the same way, suppose I shaded the 5 parts, 5 rectangle, 5 square, sorry. The shaded parts are 5. Then how you will write it? In the fraction, 5/10.
Yeah.
So the How you will read it? 5/10. And 5/10 you will be write it in the decimal 0.5. 0.5 because half portion is covered by shade, right? So you will converting into 0.5. So you can represent decimal this. Now come to the other concept. Suppose I will covered all 10. I am shading all 10 this. Now
0.01.
yeah, definitely, right? 1. And now in this I have shaded 10 parts, and this I am shading 6 parts. And will you add them? So what decimal will make it? Now we are adding both the figure, okay?
You shaded 7.
7, okay, it's okay. 1, 2, 3, okay, 7, okay. Now this is 10 over 10, isn't it? 10 over 10. And
1.7.
and this is 7 over 10. That's fine, that's fine. Anything you can take it. Now this is just example. So you can represent decimal when you have the 2 diagram. Then how you will write it? So you can represent decimal 1.7 with the help of 2 shaded rectangle like this. This is 1 and this is 0.7. When you added both the numbers, you will get 1.7, isn't it? Because the entirely shaded rectangular represent one complete part, right? The entirely shaded rectangular represents the complete part. Complete part means it become 1, right? So the second rectangle with the 7 shaded boxes represent 7/10. 7/10 means 0.7. Taking the sum of 10/10 and 6/10, right? This is what we call it 10/10, 10/10, and this is 7/10. 7/10, right? 10/10 and 7/10. You get, how you will write it? 10 over 10 plus 7 over 10. When you do it in the fractions, then what you will get? 17 over 10, isn't it? If we are doing with the fractions. So it is 17 over 10. And 17 over 10, when you convert into the decimal, so you will get how many zeros? 1 0. So it will become 1.7. 1 and 7/10. Got it? 1 and 7/10. Understood the pictorial representation of decimals? So if all the entirely shaded rectangle represents one complete part, and the other, if you added with this is second rectangle with 7 shaded boxes represent 7/10. When you add with the help of fractions, so you will write it 10 over 10 plus 7 over 10, which is 17 over 10, right? The same thing when you convert it into decimal, which is 1.7. 1, do you know 1 you can write it 1.0. 1.0 means 1 only. When you add 1.0 and 0.7, you will get 1.7 directly. And you can say that 1 and 7/10. 1 and 7/10. I will explain in the place value of decimals. So so in the first rectangle, the sum of shaded of the portion of all 3 rectangles represent what? This represent 10 over 10, which is 1. This is 10 over 10. Again it's a 1. And this is 5 over 10 according to the fraction. So it's a 0.5, right? When you add...
Is it 2.5?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely. So the two totally shaded rectangular represent 2 complete part, right? the two complete shaded part represent the two complete parts, and third rectangle represent 5/10, which is 0.5. So these three expressions represent the sum of shaded of the part is, if you write it in the fractional form, then 10 over 10, 10 over 10 and 5 over 10, which is 25 over 10. And 25 over 10 you can easily convert it into 2.5, right? 2.5, because 2 is whole and 5 is fifth, 5/10, right? So how you will read it? 2 and 5/10. 2 and 5/10. This is the pictorial representation. So look at the number 7532.812. The small dot between 2 and 8, okay, the small dot which appears in between the digits of 2 and 8 is called the decimal point. What you call it? Decimal point.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Now, next. A decimal number consists of a whole number part and the decimal part, separated by a decimal point. So this before decimal, the number before the decimal point is called the integral part or whole part. This we call it a whole part. What you call it? A whole part or integral part.
Can you say the whole thing again of the decimal?
Yeah, beta.
The whole number and the
Yes,
decimal
yes.
is
So the small dot which appears in between the digits 2 and 8, we call it a decimal point, as you know it, right? This is the decimal point. Everyone know it, right? And the second thing is the decimal number. This is the decimal number. What is this? This is the,
decimal.
yeah, this is, we call it a decimal number. This,
Yeah.
which I have written in the board, 7532, okay?
Yes.
So this decimal number, beta, consists of a whole number part and a decimal part separated by a decimal point. Now I am explaining the particular part, okay? So the before the decimal, the number before the number, wait, the number before the decimal, we call it a decimal, we call it a whole part or the integral part. What you call it? A integral part and the whole part. Whereas number after the decimal point is called a decimal part. What you call it? This is the decimal part, or you can say that the fractional part. I tell you why. Fractional part, very important. You should know the part, because decimal point is in between any two number, right? Always you will see there is a dot between two numbers, maybe 0, 1, 2, any number will be there. But what are the name of the parts? So always remember, before decimal we call it a whole part or integral part. Integral part will use it in a higher grade, okay, but I explain integral part, okay. After decimal we call it a decimal part or fractional part. Why decimal part? Because this is the decimal, na? This is the normal numbers. When I explain the expanded form, na, then you will understand. 2 is at 1's place, 3 is at 10's place, 5 is at 100's place, 7 is at 1000's place, okay. But after decimal, not the same place value like this. This is the different place value. We call it a 8/10. We learn it before, right? 1 is at 100th place, TH. You have to put TH in the 100. 2 is at 1000's place. There is no ones. So we call it a decimal part, because decimal number starts from after decimal. So we call it a decimal parts or fractional part, because this you can't be convert into fraction, but this you can convert into fractions. For example, suppose I am giving one more example here so you will understand. Suppose, for example, I am giving the very easy example. Suppose 3 1/10. This is the mixed fraction, right? The mix, when you convert it into normal, this is 3 1/10, right? You can write it, na, 3 1/10, 3 plus 1/10. Now when you convert into decimal, it will become 0.1, and this is, you can write it 3.1. So see, this 3 is same whole, 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 whole. They have never changed, right? They have never changed. But see, this part 0.1 we have written like this, we have written in the fractional, we have written in the fractional form. That's why after decimal number we can convert into the fraction, so we can call it a fractional part or decimal part. Understood the concept of this? Very important, okay? You should know the every part of the decimal. Why we call it a decimal part, why we call it a fractional part, why we call it a whole part, because this whole will never change. Like this, you can understand with the simple example. 3.1, if I wrote it in the decimal, that means 3 is whole and 1 is fraction. Why? Because 1 I can convert into fractional form. So that's why we call it a fractional part. Understood? Any confusion here? Yeah?
No.
Now, this is the representation of decimals in place value. Now, we'll try to understand each and every part of the decimals. What is the place of the value? Okay. So, suppose I am taking the same example, okay, like last, which I explained with this, na? 7532.812. Okay, so I am using the same number with the number chart. So you can write this in a, the decimal number in this chart. Then how you will write it? 2 is at ones place, 3 is at tens place, 5 is at hundreds place, 7 is at thousands place. Now come to the after decimal digit. 8 is at tens place. There is no ones. Okay, there is no ones. Directly tens. So 8 is at tens place, 1 is at hundreds place, and 2 is at thousands place. So how you will read it? 7532, 8 tens, 100, 2000s. So you will read it. Always read after decimal is 812. You will not read it 8012. No, never. This is wrong way to read the decimal number. Decimal number always read is like this. 7532.812. Okay? 812. After decimal, always read it a single digit. There is no form of the number system like we have already learned in the smaller grade. So always read it. So just as the digits to the left of the decimal represents ones, tens, hundred, thousands, and so on, digits to the right of the decimal represent tens, hundredth, thousands. The sound is th. When you read it, the sound must be ths. Hundredth, thousandth, like that. Okay. Now with the help of place value, how you will write it in the expanded form. So you can write this decimal number in expanded notation also. So 7 times 7 is at thousands place. So 7 times 1000 plus 5 times 100 plus 3 is at tens place. So 3 times 10 plus 2 is at ones place. So 2 times 1 plus. Now come to the after decimal numbers. Decimal digits. So decimal digits, 8 is at tens place. So you will write 8 1/10 plus 1 is at hundreds place. So you will write 1 1 times 1 over 100. Then plus last 2 is at thousands place. So you will write 2 times 1 over thousands. This is the expanded form notation of the decimal. So other number before decimal numbers, like whole number, you will write normally as you are already learned it the number system. But after decimal, you have to write it in a division, because 1/10 means 8/10. 100 means 100. 1000 means 2000s. So the notation will change after. So what is like decimals? Like decimals having equal number of decimal places. We learn it. What is the decimal places or decimal part? Write down first.
Whole part and decimal part.
Decimals having equal number of decimal part. Decimals having equal number of decimal part are called like decimals. Or you can say that the decimals with same number of digits in the fractional part or in the decimal part, the same number of digits. Or you can say that the decimals with same number of digits in decimal part. Now come to the example.
Oh, so you mean like, for example, 2.2?
Wait, I am giving the example. Suppose 5.9, 75.4, 837.9, and the fourth is 1464.91. Suppose, okay. Now you can check it here. What are the whole part? Before decimal is a whole part. After decimal is a decimal part. So the concept is, if the number of digit after decimal, the number of digits are same, so they are called the decimal. Doesn't matter the whole part is 1 digit, here is 2 digit, here is 3 digit, here is 4 digit, doesn't matter. Only you have to check your decimal part, and decimal part is after decimal numbers, we call it a decimal part, right? Now I am giving one more example. Suppose one more example, 12.08, 1.67, 103.50. Now see in the second example, decimal part, how many digits we have? See, in all we have 2 digits. See, so these three are the decimal like decimals, because decimal parts are, the number of decimal parts are same. See, the decimal with same number of digits. The keyword is the same number of digits. So here is number of digit is 1, 1, 1, 1. So we call it a like decimal. Here is 2, 2, 2. All the digits are 2 after decimal. Don't see the before decimal. I am giving one more example. Suppose 5.375. The other one is 0.024. The other one is 18.970. Now check your decimal parts. Is this like decimal? Yes. All are 3 digits, right? Doesn't matter the digits are different. See, digits are different. 375, here is 024, here is 970, doesn't matter. But number of digit must be same. Understood the concept, Adrit?
Yeah.
So we have...
And I think And I think an unlike fraction is a fraction with not equal parts, right?
Exactly. Exactly same, right? So now come to the unlike decimals. So the next is unlike decimals. Unlike decimals are decimal which do not have equal number of decimals which do not have equal number of decimal parts. Okay. Decimals which do not have equal number of decimal part are called unlike decimals. The decimal with different number of digits. With different number of digits. Different number of digits in decimals. So which do not have equal number of decimal digits. Suppose, for example, 5.9. Okay, here is 5.9. Here is 7.42. And here is 837.924. So you can see all the decimal parts are different, right? So what are the keyword? Different number of digits in decimal part. Here is 1 decimal digits, here is 2, here is 3. All are different now. Then we call it a unlike decimals. Understood? Here is, suppose here is 1 digit only, 12.8. I am editing here. 12.8. Here is 2. Here is 4. Now check. All the decimal digits are different. 1, 2 and 3. Maybe in any sequence, okay? It's not necessary it's a 1, 2 and 3 always. It's a different number of digits. Suppose if I give the other example, for example 6.235, here is 4.7, here is 5.82. Now you can check it in the every decimal numbers. There is 3 digit, here is 1 digit, here is 2 digit. All 3 are different number of digits. So we call it a unlike decimals. Understood the concept? So like decimal, decimal which have equal number of decimal parts, or you can say that the decimal with same number of decimals is called a like decimals. Unlike decimals are decimal which do not have equal number of decimal part, or the decimals with different number of digits like 942, 924. So we have 3 different number of decimal digits. So we call it a unlike decimals. Okay.